welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Now that I escape, sleepwalker awake. Those who could relate know the world ain't cake. Jail bars ain't golden gates. Those who fake, they break when they meet their 400-pound mate. Welcome to the Guy and Harley podcast. I'm Guy Pigden.
And I'm Harley Neville, and that's a song about fucking fat chicks, right?
That's a song about you.
Me?
Waiting to meet a new girl.
Is it?
Yeah, look. Those who can relate know the world ain't cake. You know, things ain't going great for you.
Okay, yeah, the listeners know.
Jail bars ain't golden gates.
Yep.
So self-explanatory.
Don't do any raping. Yep.
And those who are fake, they'll break. If you're a fake person, you'll break.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen because you're fake. People will see through that.
Don't fake it.
And then you won't. And if they do, you when you meet your 400-pound mate, that's you because you know the next person you go out with is likely to be a fat girl.
All right. Okay. Well, I think that's probably easily the most offensive opening 2 minutes of the show we've done. 160 seconds.
Doubt it. Not even remotely close.
Oh, I've said
the
word.
last thing that you said was that the last lyrics was about a guy jizzing on the TV screen because it'd been so built up from not having sex for 6 months.
Okay, but within 60 seconds of this show, we uttered the words fat chick and twice, and I said the word rape at one point. I took it too far straight away.
Well, yeah,
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry about that, listeners.
Well, I'm trying to discern the meaning of this, but to me, when they meet their 400-pound mate, that's a big guy in jail, right?
Well,
that's what he's talking about.
That's what it's about, yeah.
400-pound dude in jail. To be honest, I don't actually.
How many pounds are you?
Like under 200.
Right.
So if you meet a 400-pound guy, actually, to be honest, you don't have to be too worried because he's so
can't move.
morbidly obese. He's not really going to be able to like bend you over.
No,
he don't have the energy for it.
Yeah,
he can't bend over himself. So don't worry about you getting bent over.
Well, what about this though? Andre the Giant.
Well, I guess that maybe the implication is that
he's going to bend you over, mate, and it doesn't matter. You know,
I guess that is the implication. That,
he's not just a morbidly obese person. This is a massive muscular beast of a man.
Yeah,
yeah.
Speaking of massive muscular beasts of men,
yeah.
It is possible I will be wrestling as tentatively. It may not be guaranteed just yet, but tentatively on July the 10th,
the day after Neil deGrasse Tyson speaks.
I'll be wrestling, and if I am wrestling at this stage tentatively, it will be a 6'6" giant
that you're wrestling against.
Yes, who will bend me over and have his way with me. And I'm sure in a wrestling context.
Do you know already that if you get that bout, that you will be the loser?
I can't confirm or deny that, mate.
I guess that's
there's a little thing called kayfabe. But I can tell you that just given this man is a mountain of a man.
Yeah.
He will certainly be throwing me around and making me look like a little bitch might.
Yeah,
in the jail context.
Yeah,
of me being his.
Right,
so that's something to look forward to for me.
We'll pick up where we left off last week, which was we had the next day after the last episode, we had your Directors Guild speech that you had to go and give.
I knew actually I did something.
I knew I did something this week.
I knew I did one thing the entire week between podcasts. That was it.
Yeah. Well, it was good. So I went along. Now that was my first time leaving the house since the surgery. So I was It was about 5 or 6 days in after my surgery kind of thing.
You were tender.
I was tender.
You had a bit of a crip walk going on.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to know what Harley looks like walking at the moment, just type into your Google machine crip walk.
Yeah.
And that is what Harley looks like while he's currently walking. Where if you don't want him to because he doesn't want to break his stitches, so he's got a bit of a lean on as he goes.
Yeah. Well, so that night, I went along to this event thinking like, okay, it's my first time getting out of the house. I've got cabin fever a little bit. It'll be nice to kind of get out and, it's not like a big party or anything like that.
How many days had you been in the house?
I think it had been 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Like straight without leaving, you know, like literally without, not even going to the backyard kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I went along to this thing, and what would you know? There's literally no seats.
0 seats.
At this event. So who does a standing up event?
Standing room only.
It was a really
standing room only.
It was a really weird setup, really, because it was like a little room in the back of a bar, which is fine. But there was no seats and no stage, so it was like we were kind of all just in this little room at the back of a bar, and the people that were speaking were at eye level height, and if you were behind somebody, they were at the back of someone else's head height.
If you're behind anyone too,
you're fucked. Yeah, and there was no seats. Seats.
Well, I think that basically they have their sort of important Directors Guild meetups. Or normally they're just a meetup with no talking, really. It's just like you all go there and have a chat.
Yeah.
And that's where they normally have that. Now, sometimes they go take it a level further and they're like, we've got an important person talking. So they actually have a Q&A venue, where there are, of course, seats and seating. But I am not one of those important people. So they're like, look, just throw them up there. They'll stand for 20 minutes before they start getting restless and throwing tomatoes. So, you've got 20 minutes, basically. And that's basically what I did, is gave a standing up speech to everyone standing up.
Yeah. I think it went pretty well, though.
Yeah.
Thought it was good. Thought you had some insightful things to say, and I think you were better than the other person that spoke, just because what you were talking about was more like practical, and also it was like you had a plan for what you were going to say, like,
yes.
Here are the pros and cons of low budget filmmaking kind of thing, was your theme, really.
Yes.
As a director, and the strengths, the things that you can take advantage of as a low budget filmmaker, things that are actually easier as a low budget filmmaker than when you're working with a bigger budget, and how you should concentrate on those strengths. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. That's practical advice. Whereas the other lady was just kind of just off the cuff the whole time, which, guys, don't do off the cuff.
Never go off the cuff.
Unless you're...
Ever seen an improvised film?
No, exactly. Unless you're some sort of like improv genius, don't go off the cuff. Like, we don't care. And so yeah, she was kind of going off the cuff, and it was fine. It was all good.
It was fine. But yeah, I spent a good hour sort of writing up my notes to sort of have some good content to say. And, that's the thing. I would have appreciated that. But the problem with directors is they always like, yeah. But my way
is better.
And like, or more specifically, yeah.
That does sound like a director I know.
But I'll do it a better way than you, so I won't have those problems. Even if they're universal problems, you'll kind of think that, and then you'll run into those problems. And go, you made some good points actually.
Yeah. Well, then afterwards they'll go, guy was right.
Yeah.
And that's good.
So just remember that, all you directors out there that were like, yeah, but I've got a better way. Just remember that.
So yeah, I left that event at the end of the night with a nice sore ass and went home. It was good though.
It was a good time. I'd like to do more of those types of things, but unfortunately, no one gives me the opportunity to, because they don't want to hear my wisdom.
Well, this was a prime example of industry respect coming your way. They weren't asking just anybody to get up there and speak.
I do
That's
feel
industry respect right there.
I feel like they were. They're kind of like, we just need a couple of people. Who's that low budget knobhead that we down in the basement? The knobhead, the low budget guy. We never give him anything. Just throw him a little scrap. He's got those. We're feeding those scraps under the stairs. Bring him out. What's his name? Gary Pizza. Oh, yeah. Get him out here. We'll let him have a go.
Oh, look, I don't think that's fair. Don't think that's fair. I think that this is a prime example of the industry respect that you so dearly yearn,
Desperately crave.
So congratulations, mate. Big moment.
All right, thank you.
Now, I didn't get my last time. I said as well that I had an audition. I had 2 auditions, and the first one I did not get. That was for a big drama show over here. It would have been really good to get it because it's actual real acting, not just
funny face
acting in a 30-second commercial. And then the other audition I had was for a funny face acting in a 30-second commercial, and I got a callback for that. So that's quite big news. It's quite exciting. That means I'm on the short list.
Do you just have that callback this morning?
Yeah, and then I had that callback this morning. Now, a callback is when they call you back for a second audition, but the great thing about it is they pay you $50 just for showing up,
which is good.
Because that means that when you're sort of adding up your overall earnings throughout the year from acting, every time you've got a callback, well, that's another $50 chucked on those earnings, which is nice. And so I had that this morning. My callback went well. Did I get it? Don't know. Time will tell. I left feeling like it went fine and it wasn't bad. And if they called me up and said I had it, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they called me up and said, if they didn't call me at all and said I didn't have it, then I also wouldn't be surprised, kind of thing. I feel like it was middle of the road-ish. Could go either way.
The problem with the callback is you're getting really close.
Yeah.
You're in the top 10 or the top 5 or maybe even the top 3.
Yeah.
So it's really between you and only a few other people.
Usually. Not always.
Not
usually.
always, but there's now...
Guy and I had a callback for a McDonald's ad that had
there was a
20
fucking shit ton of
there.
people. I was like, how many people you wanted to call back here?
But the thing is, if you think about it, it's $50 per person that's there. So obviously it's in their interests to make that shortlist short because it's just another expense. But yeah, you were saying top 3.
But yeah, it means that you're like, hey, I've got a real shot at this. And I'm going to start dreaming about how I'm going to spend this money. Yeah, I'm going to mentally start spending this money on this thing that I haven't quite got because I'm real fucking close. And I think that is the tough thing. It's almost better to just get a yes without the callback.
Oh, obviously. Then you don't have to go and do a second audition either.
Which I did for a Countdown ad, I might add.
Did you
just confirm yes?
Did you get a callback as well?
So good. No, didn't need a callback. Just got the ad.
Oh, you just got straight to it. Well, yeah. To be fair, I think I only did one for New World as well.
Yeah. Also, to be fair, I was just messing up, squirting a thing of ketchup on some poor kid's hot dog.
No dialogue, squeeze ketchup.
I can't remember if I actually did do dialogue in the commercial.
In the audition.
And in the audition either. So, but anyway, I think you got a good chance with this. I was hearing you rehearse annoyingly in your room, and I was like, I think he's got a good shot.
Could you hear that from down here in your room, or could you hear that from the kitchen?
Making a protein shake or something.
Yeah. Right, well, I was... I don't know, though. I'm not really sure. I feel it was all right. I got there, but I don't think it was... I'm not entirely confident, is all I'm saying. But time will tell, and I'll let you guys know about it next week.
Yeah, you'll probably find out.
But I tell you what, though, I did... I'm pinning some hopes to this audition.
Yeah, pinning a lot of hopes.
I'm pinning a lot of hopes to this audition. And the reason why is because I've been... Guy and I had a Pigville Productions business meeting yesterday over at the cafe. Yep. That means we sat and drank a coffee and talked shit with no plan.
And Harley ate a lolly cake.
Yeah. And we had no plan.
Yeah, we didn't make any specific plans.
And so, but yeah, I've been thinking a lot lately. So,
he's been thinking a lot about retiring from full-time work. So from full-time work, Harley has decided in his head that he's probably had enough of it for his life. Like, in his life, he'd probably not like to work full-time anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have had enough of work, in my life, I've had enough of work.
15 years.
17 years.
All right, 17 years.
Not counting the milk run.
No, I'm saying full-time work.
17 is when I started working full-time at KFC.
17 years after you were deep, not good enough for McDonald's.
After McDonald's rejected my application, I went to KFC
and started your full-time career.
Yeah, and 17 years later, I've had enough of that shit.
You've decided, hey, full-time's not for me.
Yeah, basically. Well, so look, it was kind of inspired by I was lying around. Okay, firstly,
Firstly,
without bitching too much about my work because I can't get in trouble, they're changing my hours at work and increasing them to the amount that they pay me for, which is 40.
And the funny thing is, they're increasing them to a normal amount of a normal full-time working week, which every other person in the world has to do, except you.
Yes, but here's the thing. I work in the television industry, and I have done for more than 10 years. And let me tell you something. 40-hour weeks, you don't do them in live broadcast. Doesn't happen. And if you're in a job where you're doing 40 hours or more in a live broadcast position, you chose the wrong side. You're doing the wrong job. Whatever's going on. Like my entire television career has been like 30 to 40 hours a week.
But do you not think that you've kind of just fluked your way?
Maybe I've just been really lucky.
You've kind of Harley Neville'd your way through.
Well, there might be an element of I've been Harley Neville'ing it. Absolutely. No, that's certainly possible. Like it might be a contributing factor. that every television job I've had, because the way it works normally in live broadcast television, which is where I work, that, it's like they go, okay, so we're going to pay you, we've got an event and it's going to be 4 hours, but you get paid for 6 hours, or something like that. There's always seems like there's more hours than what you actually work versus what you get paid for. And so maybe you even do really long days, but you get paid for even longer days, Yes. And like, for example, when I used to be a cameraman and I used to have to drive a long way to get to the place where I was filming. Now, sometimes it was up to like 3 hours each way. So I'd do 3 hours to get there, 6 hours work, 3 hours to get back. So so it's a total of 12 hours, right? But I'm getting paid for every single one of those hours. But I was only spending 6 hours actually doing the job I was meant to be doing.
Driving, listening to music.
I wasn't even driving. I was sleeping.
You were sleeping?
Because it was normally in the morning. They normally pick me up in the morning. So I'd go to sleep for 3 hours on the way to this place where I had to go.
And you weren't actually driving either.
No. And this is like probably 4 times a week kind of thing. So it's like borderline full time.
Stationary in a moving vehicle.
Yeah.
Not even...
No. Well, see, what was great about it was I was, due to this situation, this travel situation, I would do 3 12-hour shifts, and that would be my 36 hours for the week.
So you only work 3 days a week?
Yeah. I'd do 3 12-hour days. But in reality, they weren't truly 12 hours. Sure, they took me 12 hours of my day, but I was actually only working for 6 hours. So that's 18 hours a week of actual work, but I was getting paid for 36 by the time you factor in that travel and all that.
Can you imagine, especially this was, some time ago, but now you could actually download some Netflix shows to your phone and watch them while you were driving.
No, yeah, well, I mean, I took my laptop with me and I wrote 130 pages of my memoirs while I was doing that job.
Yeah.
So, I worked on heaps of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
It was good. And so anyway, now they're trying to increase my hours at work.
Now they've got the nerve
to try and get 40 hours out of me.
To try and suggest that you should be paid hourly and you should work for every single hour you're being paid
for. Yeah,
the cheek.
Well, frankly, it's outrageous. And to be honest, I wouldn't have time to concentrate as much time to concentrate on all this other stuff. I do a lot of valuable stuff when I'm not doing this working, right? And so yeah, anyway, that's not my only motivation. I was lying in my room and I was looking at the moldy ceiling, and I've just spent $106 getting my suit dry cleaned because I opened up the wardrobe and it was my suit, for whatever reason, was just covered in mold. The vest, the jacket, the pants, all of it was just covered in this horrible mold. So I had to, and it's like, it's not really my fault. I open the window every day in my room. It's open right now. And so it's not like I'm just some grub who's, let it get moldy kind of thing. Like, it just gets moldy because I live in a moldy, shitty, cold, wet little room.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, is this what life's really all about?
Is this at 34 life?
And I was like, and obviously Angie left. Okay, that's a big shake up in my life.
It's a blow,
and it sort of had this knock-on effect, right? Which is that before Angie broke up with me, I was in my mind moving to LA at the end of the year. So I had a direction, so I had something to work towards. So I was super motivated, and I was going out and getting all these things done because I was motivated by that end goal of essentially going pro next year. Because when I moved to LA, I can only earn money as a performer. Plus, I need, obviously, to do a whole bunch of shit before I even go, just to qualify to get over there, and then once and to be able to convince people to cast me once I do get there, right? So I was super motivated for all that stuff. And then when she broke up with me, part of the depression was that obviously my girlfriend broke up with me, but another part of the depression was all of a sudden I didn't have that direction that I had, and I was like, I didn't have that same set goal of something's happening at the end of the year, and that had more of a knock-on effect of, I guess that means I'll be in my job for the rest of my life, because I'm not quitting my job at the end of the year to move to LA and all that type of stuff. And so anyway, it wasn't until more recently that I was like, oh, hold up a minute, what would it take to save up a whole bunch? How much money would I need to save up? How much money do I have? How much would I need to save up? How much do I need to continue building the online income and all that stuff to just go pro and just concentrate full time on doing acting and creative stuff? And look, I figure that if I, with my holiday pay and all that stuff, I did some calculations last night. I reckon that by the time I quit, not that I'm quitting like now, I'd quit in like 6 months, but I would have enough money to get 6 months of like full time not working, and that excites me. And that 6 months, that's what I've got to use that 6 months to buy the next 6 months of free time to concentrate on Pigville related stuff.
I like it.
So I've been looking into it very tentatively, obviously, and it wouldn't happen in a rush, but
it hinges on this audition.
I'm excited by that. And so anyway, yeah, I was like, well, last night I was like, well, I guess if I were to get that audition, which pays like $8,000, well, that would, $6,000 after tax and all that. I was like, well, that would be a sign that I should definitely go full-time pro. Because if I could, one ad obviously makes a huge difference. One ad is like my entire savings if I were to, I don't have $6,000 at the moment, but if I saved for a while, I could have $6,000 and get a certain amount of time off work kind of thing. Well, that would be a massive contributor. That would buy me so many more months.
It's quite funny because you've had all these thoughts, right? You've had all these thoughts while you've had 3 weeks off for your operation. Well, plus 2 weeks before that
to go on leave
when you were just on holiday.
Yeah. Well, it's because I'm living the dream. It's like, this is great. Like, I'm waking. See, my problem at the moment is I'm waking up in the morning and I can't do that much because I can't sit at the computer for that long, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's not good for doing all those types of things. But time is not the issue at the moment. Being able to sit for long enough to actually kind of do it at the moment is an issue. But I've still been like productive anyway, just not as productive as I'd like to be because I'm recovering from a fucking ass operation.
It's still funny though that you've had more time off.
Oh yeah,
in this last in this year,
and that's why
this entire year that most people will ever have off in an entire year.
Yeah. Well, I've had a taste,
and it's all that it's made you think is not like, "Whoo, I'm refreshed.
I'm ready to go back.
I'm ready to go back." It's like, "Fuck this. I've fucking had enough. Working's too much."
You go, well, taking some time off from work has allowed me to return feeling fresh and invigorated with a fresh hatred for my work.
Yeah.
Not that I honestly don't hate my work. I like my job. I like my job and I like the people. And it is all good, but it just, sometimes it does feel a bit like I'm busy trying to do all this other stuff, and you're like, okay, I've got this thing going on, I've got that thing, I'm trying to do this thing, I want to make this thing happen, I'm contacting this person, and blah, and I've got to go to work. And then it kind of just like stops. Everything stops for a while, and then you come back and you go to work. And obviously, you know all about that guy.
Tell me about it, bud. Fucking tell me about it.
But you had your opportunity to go pro. When we attempted semi-pro for a while there.
Yeah, and we did get a lot done.
Yeah,
but I probably didn't handle it as well as I should have, in the sense that I was working towards finishing off older and all this stuff. And also, I think there was a big focus on the old, what was that short film we did?
No Caller
ID.
Yeah.
So all this stuff going on. And it was good, but one, I was still working, I think, 3 days a week. But I was also kind of like, I was like, okay, well, I got this extra money. Yeah, I'll just spend that on some film stuff. And then I was like, but now I'm fucking broke. And so I just didn't quite have that bit. I didn't quite have the balance right.
Yeah.
On that
well,
one.
you might recall, I feel like we had a large argument about it, because my argument was, don't buy film gear, let's extend semi-pro.
Yeah.
And then the idea being like, if we can get say you've got 6 months, say you've got 6 months off work, and you've got your rent paid for that entire 6 months, you've got everything paid. You're going to be on a budget, but you've got your basics covered for that 6 months. You know, think about like all the stuff you can get out, and the trick would be to grow the online income through increasing the output. So more vlogging, more YouTube videos, and these types of online content, which it brings in more Patreon supporters and more YouTube earnings. And, you know, every, $400 you earn is another week on the end of your, of your holiday, you know, of your professional career, you know, paid for, or something like that. Whatever you decide the minimum is that you could live off for that week. But yeah, so I guess the idea would be to try and make it self-sustaining, but you'd need to really concentrate for that 6 months specifically on building up that passive income or that online income.
Yeah.
And that would be the trick. Whereas in your case, you spent a lot of time on older
Big
and no
projects.
caller ID,
Big projects.
which took heaps of time, and no caller ID was well worth it, but it was not a financial rewarding. You know, it wasn't building your online income or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then older was again obviously very worth it to work on that, and one day when it comes out, it may or may not pay dividends.
Yeah, one day.
But
One day when it eventually comes out.
But that means it's not the type of project you should be concentrating on for that, specifically for that 6 months. You know, you can still work on it, but work on it on the side, and while the main focus should be getting out all that content, like the Viva La Dirt League guys. So
yeah, I guess in my mind, I thought that I would get through what I was editing of Older at the time, which was the second cut, a lot quicker than I did, but I didn't.
yeah,
Even though I was working on it
a lot.
really a lot.
Yeah.
No days off.
We also put not wanking out during that.
We didn't put the classic not wanking out. Let's not forget that.
which has had like 20 or 30,000 views and a whole bunch of thumbs up and all that stuff.
But needed about another
million views.
Or
to make
I
some
was going
money.
to say about another 20 or 30 not wankings.
Yeah. And also, not wanking took way too many months.
Yeah.
To come out. There was several months between shooting it and it coming out. But if you guys want to see that, it's on our YouTube channel. Just go onto YouTube, search Pigville and the number 2, and you will find it. Pigville 2, it's on there. It's called Not Wanking. But if you just search Pigville Not Wanking, you'll be able to see it.
We also shot a music video, which is currently still unreleased.
Yep. We did shoot a ill-fortuned music video, which I recall having a big fight about that music video, and it has not come out. What's the latest on that? So guy went to Dunedin and shot a short film at that time, and a short film, a music video, and then we had some issues with the audio where which meant syncing it became a lot more fiddly, and then that's not the end of the world, but it's just a little obstacle that was not planned on, kind of thing, and then that was the last I heard, really.
Yeah, so I tried to get another editor to edit it, and then he pulled out, and then I have recently.
Why did he pull out? He was like, fuck, fixing this audio is fiddly.
No, I think, there's a couple of things. Like, he couldn't, conform it. Like, it was unconformed at the time. So, basically, a lot of the times when you edit something, you conform it down to a format which is easy for the editing system to. So,
it's a smaller file,
use.
but it's not the final. It's not the final quality full size file.
That's right. It goes back to the full size quality file at the end when you grade it.
Yeah. So it's just for the editing process.
Yes.
Make it smaller.
They're called proxy files. And basically, there weren't proxy files, so he was like, I've got to do that. I found out I can't really do that because my computer's not good enough. So then I was like, okay, well, I'll do that. Classic. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, I'll just do all that. So I started doing all that, and then he was like, I've just booked this big job. Man, got to pay the bills, my homie, and you ain't paying them. So, so I'm gonna have to say I've got to not do this at the moment. So I've got a few tweaks to do of this new cut of Older. I've just watched it through, and was pretty okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't fall into a deep dark depression at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. Good.
As sometimes do nice. When I watch something of ours to the end.
Mm-hmm.
I normally do that, but I didn't do that this time. I was like, I think it's actually feeling quite good. But I've had these thoughts before, and actually don't know if I was really right when I had those thoughts before. So, but I've got a few tweaks to make on that, and then I'm going to make those tweaks. We're going to give it to some bigwigs. And we're going to see, but in that time, unless we kickstart off on this web series that we mentioned, we're not sure, but if there is a gap between those two things, then I'll have a dabble with the old music video.
Well, I guess if there's any editors out there listening and you want to put your hand up, just get in touch. You never know, might work.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all set up. It's on one of my hard drives now. One of the issues was it was such big files that kind of had to be all put into one hard drive, and things had to be moved around, and it was a bit of a to-do, but now it's all just sitting there, and it can readily be sort of cut together. I think some of the audio is still not in sync, but just have to deal with it, my bro.
Now, speaking of that web series of ours, potential future web series of ours, the horror one that's hopefully coming together, we sent away the latest latest sort of synopsis to the
draft number 2
to the producers. We have not heard back yet. Now that's not. No, don't fear. There's no reason to believe. There's no reason to be alarmed.
There's no reason to panic. There's
it's
no
early
reason
days
to throw yourself off a bridge just yet.
Now we haven't heard. Now it is worth noting that when we had our last meeting, I was not really on form. I was quite a zombie. I had just come off the plane after an 11-day trip, and that trip was not like a relaxing holiday to the beach. It was 11 days of flying, acting, bussing, babysitting, partying with celebrities, all the rest of it. It was not, and it was definitely not a relaxing trip by any stretch of the imagination. No. And then I was buggered, and I was flying that day on the plane. I fell asleep on the plane as it was, flying from Hastings to here, and then I arrived and went directly into a big important business meeting with my suitcase in Guy's car, because I convinced Guy to pick me up from the airport. Yeah, good cunt. Maybe I just ruined it for us there. Maybe I ruined the whole thing. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think anything was too bad in that meeting, except maybe you didn't take quite enough notes. You didn't probably note down quite enough of the notes that they were giving us.
Whoa, hang on. Firstly, they have no idea how many notes I didn't put down. Okay, I had my iPad open in front of me.
You did look busy.
The page was blank, but
I was looking over at the thing, and I was like, I see that he's written a couple words. But really not exactly what they're saying here. I'm not obviously going to bring this up right now.
Now, another thing worth noting is that Guy made no notes and did not bring his laptop.
To be fair, that was kind of my fault, which in turn was Harley's fault. Because, normally I'd go to the meeting, I'd put the laptop in the bag and go to the meeting. But because I was picking him up, I'd just finished a night shift, I kind of just woke up and went straight to the airport. Not really thinking, we're just going straight to the meeting after this. So I did not bring my laptop. So, look, it was my fault. But I was picking you up, and therefore I shift the blame onto you.
Yeah, well...
They didn't know how many single words you were jotting down.
Yeah.
I was like, he hasn't appeared to have formed a sentence. And they've definitely said many sentences. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's why I saved it at the end, though, because I was like, okay, great, guys, great. So are you going to be sending us through these notes, putting them together into an email and sending them through to us?
And they did that. They definitely did that. But in saying that email that they sent through to us was probably, I would say, a third of the actual notes that they gave us in the meeting. Yeah. Unfortunately, I probably remembered 2/3, so we probably missed a third.
Right. Yeah.
Or something like that. Maybe we remembered a bit more, actually. Yeah. But it was not ideal.
Yeah. I'm looking at my notes now. It's 4 or so. It's 4 lines.
4 lines.
4 lines.
What else?
Well, I have some bad news.
Okay.
It turns out that my culturally insensitive rap about the Nagasaki and Hiroshima
Japanese racist
Hiroshima bombings It turns out I can no longer use it.
Yep.
Because I have been doing some research, and it turns out that the bomb that was dropped on Nagasaki was an A bomb, an atom bomb,
And you
not
said
a H bomb, a hydrogen bomb. And the opening line is, "They call me H bomb when I visit Japan because I destroy Nagasaki when I drop my fat man."
I mean, I really
but fat
don't.
man was an A bomb.
I really think that like people get it, and that they.
But it's not historically accurate, guy.
Yeah, but
And that's kind of the point of the rap.
that's not what they're worried about.
But it's kind of the point of the rap. It's got to be historically accurate
don't think
for me to take pride in it.
I don't think anyone's going to take you to task for that specific issue.
No, it might be the congenital birth defects of the children that I'm making light of that they take issue with.
Even just making a joke out of millions upon millions of people being horribly killed, innocent,
Well, hundreds of thousands,
innocent victims. Probably in the millions, though, when you account for the
radiation and stuff. Yeah. Might be a million.
I mean, it's probably over a million.
Yeah.
And you're trying to make a funny out of that.
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the fundamental issue.
Well, look, I'll say something to that. I'll say that it was 70 years ago.
Yeah.
And that they started a war, and that was really the end of the war.
Yep.
And I just feel like that as the victor, that gives us some room to make light of their loss. You know, it's like making
to the winner goes the spoils,
Exactly.
or in this case,
You know,
to the winner goes the funny raps that makes fun of the million slaughtered innocents.
Yeah, well, because you know, like if you make jokes where Nazis are the butt of the joke, nobody goes, ooh, it's a problem. Of course not. You know.
Yeah, of course.
They started a war. We won it. To the victor goes the spoils.
But I guess
same situation.
There's the issue with Nazis, like their fundamental core beliefs were bad. You know, these people were innocent people caught up in a war. Is the difference?
Well, yeah, but if we were to change it instead and refer to the firebombing of Berlin, which also killed tens of thousands of people.
Yeah.
You know, funny. Funny. It's hilarious. It's funny shit.
Oh, shit.
No?
Oh, boy.
No?
Well, that's good that you found that out. I'm glad we could strike that rap from the record.
Well, I'm probably not going to stop using it.
Okay.
Not that I use it for anything.
What else going on?
Well, so I went to the doctor because I thought I'd busted some stitches. Yep. So I went to the doctor to get checked up, and she was like, "No, it's really clean. It's healing really nicely." And I was like, "Well, hey doc, how many stitches have I got?" Because they never told me. That was the problem. I had that great operation with the hot chicks and the drugs and all that, and then
the stand-up
comedian doctor,
JD from Scrubs,
is the sexy nurses and the great drugs. And excellent sleep. But the one bad thing about it was that afterwards there was zero aftercare information or zero information at all. So nobody said to me, "Okay, Harley, we did the operation. The tunnel was, about an inch deep. We worried about this thing, but it turned out fine, and we did this thing now, and now you've got X amount of stitches." There was nothing. I had no idea how big the gash was or anything like that. So I didn't really know until I went to the doctor yesterday that I've got 9 stitches in my ass crack right now as we speak, and I thought I had 7, but obviously it's hard to count your own ass stitches, and so there was 2 more hiding down there deep in my crevasse. But yeah, so 9 stitches, and I'm getting them out this Friday. Whoop whoop. And then they're going to give me another couple of days off, another 2-day medical certificate after that. Which combines with 2 rostered days off I happen to have, meaning that it buys me an extra 4 days. So I don't go back until the 5th. And today's the 26th or 7th.
If you ever get to the point where you're like, "Look, guys, I'm packing this in," they're gonna be like, "Oh, thank God, you haven't been here for half the year. You really haven't been here for half the fucking year. You keep getting time off and swapping shifts, and they're basically doing fuck all.
You're on Facebooks during your shifts." No, look, that's
turning up,
not true.
Turning
up late, leaving early, Facebook on your shift.
Legitimately, you did get told off for
now
leaving early.
Those are all quotes from the project, by the way.
They're also,
just FYI.
But they're also quotes from your current
from
employer when you did them. It was a full-on case of life imitating art. That you did actually get told off for sneaking off early to go to an audition recently.
Well, that did happen, yeah.
And they did question your commitment.
Did get in trouble for that. Well, I just have to hope that my boss doesn't listen to this episode. Or I'm fucked. But no. Look, that's definitely a massive exaggeration. Like, I took off, 10 days to go on to Wellington for Bernie Rao's film, My Lover, My Lazy Boy, and then I have taken 2 weeks off for a very important and totally not made up arse surgery. Yeah. Which I can't control, and that's really... And other than that, I don't really take much leave, so...
Also, to be fair... You're taking your sick days on the arse leave.
Yeah, it's all sick days.
Which is actually something you don't have to do. You could claim ACC,
yeah.
Which would then cost them, because essentially they're paying you subsidised by ACC.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're taking a sick day, they owe you those sick days anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I'm taking sick days, but my logic was I want 100% of my pay. I don't want 80% of my pay, which is what you'd get if you claimed ACC.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I have a real adverse reaction to anything to do with paperwork.
Yeah.
So it's a real problem.
It's a real problem for your
I
producing career.
I swell up.
It's a real problem for your career as a producer. You have an aversion
to paperwork. Yeah, well, look.
The fundamental thing a producer deals in paperwork,
Oh,
you have an aversion to it.
Well, and
you swell up.
And God, this is why. Look, this is the type of
bloody
producer.
Brilliant.
This is the type of producer I am, though, right? I'm the type of producer
bloody marvelous
that makes everything happen. Shit still happens. I just get other people to do it.
Well,
you see, that's the genius. I find someone who's good with paperwork, bring them on board. Come on in, you're the paperwork guy. Sit down, there's your papers. Get started. Meanwhile, I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. And then at the end of the day, right, I hand the paperwork to you, all complete. And I go, there you go, Mr. Pigden.
Well, as long as it's
you won't need to fire me this week.
I was going to say, as long as it's not... are you sure you're not giving me the paperwork to create?
Well, at the moment, you're the guy.
Because
at the moment, you're the guy that I get in.
It felt like some of that paperwork is, unfortunately, has fallen on my shoulders many times. So I feel like this, we need to get in that guy.
Yeah. Well, I'm working on it.
ASAP.
I actually had a word to a producer the other day to talk, who I know would be as good at the bureaucracy sort of stuff. Yeah. And she is interested in having a meeting next week, but I said, well, hold off until we hear back yay or nay about this web series funding kind of thing. But if it goes ahead, I am planning to have a meeting with this person to get her in to do all the paperwork. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, movie reviews. It's that time where I review a movie. Now, I had the unfortunate experience of watching Transformers for the last night.
I hate it when you do these reviews of movies that are just, you don't even need to watch. You just watch the trailer and it's like just shit. It's just the same shit again. And it's like, oh no, really, Transformers 4 wasn't good. The fourth sequel to the first one wasn't good.
This is actually Transformers 5, Harley.
Right. Okay. Well, it's even worse. Why are they calling it Transformers 4 then?
What did I say? Transformers 4?
I thought you did.
I thought maybe I did. I meant to say Transformers The Last Night. You've gotten deep into sequel land where they take away the number of sequels because they're like, because if you did see 5, you're like, 5, fuck. Don't think I need to see the 5th one of this. So they just go, hey, just take out the number. No one will really remember how many. And it's kind of true. It's quite clever.
Well, yeah, it just turns it into a franchise instead of a sequel.
The Fate of the Furious, Fast 8, but they put a 8 in the fucking... You put a number 8 in spelling fate. That's kind of dumb. But anyway, I watched Transformers. Look, to be honest, Transformers for me are a bit of a guilty pleasure. I don't mind Transformers. I liked Transformers as a kid. I really enjoyed the first Transformers. And I really like seeing big robots fight each other on screen. Like that's
for 20 minutes at a time.
That's cool.
Through exploding CGI buildings. CGI robots fighting other CGI robots and exploding through CGI buildings for 15 to 20 minutes at a time. That's Guy's idea of a good night out at the movies.
Well, I will say a couple things to that. Normally not CGI buildings. I think the best thing that Michael Bay does is he blows up stuff for real and then he puts the characters so like, you got to smash through a car. He'll smash through the car and then put the Transformer smashing through the car. And then it's like, okay, you're marrying CGI with the real in a way that everything seems more believable. And I also think that robots...
But, when skyscrapers are falling down, you know that those are CGI buildings, right?
I understand that, Harley.
Right, okay, good.
Thank you.
Good.
I understand that they haven't blown up any skyscrapers.
You do know that the Empire State Building is still standing.
and
Michael Bay didn't blow it up.
By the way...
and add some CGI.
By the way, guy, the White House is still there. Independence Day. They didn't blow up the White House for a cool shot to make it look believable. Yes, I am aware of that.
Okay, good. Did Michael Bay do Independence Day?
No, that was...
But that would have worked.
Roland Emmerich,
Right.
yeah. But anyway, they're kind of a guilty pleasure, but also I do think that the Transformers look really good as CGI. Like, they look immersive in the world, and I don't feel they're as shit as a lot of other things.
That's high praise coming from Guy. I feel like they're not as shit as a lot of other things.
But this one just really shat the bed on Transformers. And the bar is not high. The bar is super low on Transformers. But, and for me, because, I'm coming in going, this is going to be fucking dumb. This is going to be dumb. It's going to be stupid. But I'm just going to I want to see my robots fighting, and I want to see some spectacle, and I want to see some cool visuals. So for me, going in thinking that, knowing all that, and coming out angry and disappointed means it was the fucking shits. And I think there was lots of problems. Obviously, the biggest problem is story and character, and stuff not making sense. But Michael Bay has this habit where he will establish a plot point, earlier in the film, and then he'll just do something later on that will completely obliterate the logic of that initial plot point. So you go, well, hang on. For example, Bumblebee can't speak, so he always uses radio clippings and things from movies and shit, and that's endearing. And then they put in this new voice box to try and get him to speak, and he goes, oh, hello, and he kind of sounds like Stephen Hawking, but a woman, and that's kind of the joke. Again, not really that funny. And then he rips out...
So what, the joke is he's a woman? Or he's got a girl's voice?
The joke is that this new voice box, which is meant to give him his original voice...
Right, is not.
Female. Yeah, it's like a female robot.
Yeah.
And so he rips it out, right? Because he's angry. Okay. But that means that he's ripped out his voice box. His voice box that he had him before was doing all the radio stuff. He's just ripped out this new voice box. In theory, that would mean that he can't speak. Except that now he's back to his radio thing again. And there's just no fucking explanation for that. But then, to top that off, to make that even worse, later on in the film, and I'm going to give you a few spoilers here, so just deal with it. If you haven't seen Transformers and you plan to see it, which I highly suggest you don't, skip this next 10 seconds or something. But anyway, Bumblebee fights bad Optimus Prime a bit later in the film. And the thing that stops Optimus Prime from killing him is that he goes, hello, it's me, Bumblebee, your oldest friend. Please don't do this, Optimus Prime. And Prime goes, Bumblebee, my old friend. It's been so long since I've heard your original voice. I'm back to being a good guy now. But the whole idea was that Bumblebee couldn't have his original voice because he didn't have a voice box, and he ripped out his voice box earlier in the fucking film.
Well, are you sure you didn't nod off and miss the bit where they put in his real voice or fixed it or something?
Sure.
Sounds like they fixed it at some point. They were like, haha, you've got a silly voice, and then they like, okay, but we're going to fix it, and they fixed it.
Maybe it was in the bit where I took a piss.
Right.
It's possible.
That sounds like possible.
But I feel like then he would have been speaking with his original voice all that time
instead of radioing,
and still radioing it in. Also, he had this big fight with Optimus Prime, when in reality, if he just said before they started fighting, Optimus Prime, I'm your friend Bumblebee. Don't beat me up, and let's not have a fight and both injure ourselves because I'm your oldest friend. Come back to us. It would have been all sweet. It's fucking dumb as fuck.
Yeah.
And everything is dumb as fuck. But also the worst thing about this was that the joke ratio not working. I would say it was 99% jokes not working and not being funny. 1% little chuckle.
Was it the original cast? Was it was it what's his face?
Nah, it was Marky Mark and a bunch of new people.
Right.
But it was so like it was
I just can't believe it. Transformers 5 with Marky Mark, and it's no good.
Well, what's right? Marky Mark's all right.
Yeah, he's all right.
But I guess the thing is that just like it was almost like they got there on the day, and Michael Bay is this guy who thinks that he's real funny. Like he knows humor, he knows comedy, except he doesn't. He's terrible at it. It's the worst thing. The only thing he can do well are visuals, and he does visuals excellently. Everything else he does in a movie is the shits. And but he thinks he's a real funny guy, and he's like, no, we're not going to do any of this stuff. Hey, why don't you just say this? Call her a little jailer. Yeah. That's funny, right? Hey, just have them, make this sexist remark here. Yeah, that's funny, right? Oh, this sounds like an episode of the podcast.
Yeah, it does actually sound a lot like us.
This sounds like an episode of the podcast. But he
sounds
just
like
kind of,
every episode of the podcast.
He's just throwing out these, he's just spitballing these terrible comedy ideas, and everyone goes, okay.
Okay,
Mr. Bay, just don't shout at me. He was referred to as Hitler by that hot chick from the Megan Fox of his ways, and anyway, it all translates to just terrible, everything terrible, nothing making any sense, things kind of backing up over other things that they established earlier on, and it's almost like they're like, hey Michael, if they do this, it's not really going to make sense because, they did that. And he's like, who cares? It's fucking Transformers. I fucking transform some shit, motherfuckers. And so they just do, and it just gets worse and worse. But this is the true low point. So please, guys, I know you like to see robots, big giant robots fighting as much as me. But this one, you have to give it a miss.
Just steer
you
clear.
actually have to give it a miss. As much as you have a love for giant robots fighting each other and Optimus Prime's voice, you have to just say goodbye to this one, man. So anyway, that's my review. I've got some scandal in the filmmaking world, but you got anything else?
Well, we could do a quick troll hole.
Yeah, let's do the troll hole.
Guy's favourite section of
The troll hole.
It's been a while since
we had
we
did have a semi troll hole, but it complimented me, so it was kind of like
yeah.
I really want you to read that comment again, to be honest.
I don't have it with me, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I've deleted that, so don't have that with me. So back to this one. This one is from online internet user Jeremy Howson.
Holy shit.
He says, you idiots! It's been a while, as in the song, It's Been a While, is by 90s mumblers Stained, not Christian 90s mumblers Creed. Because last week I attributed, Guy sung It's Been a While, and I attributed it to Creed.
Which I thought was entirely accurate.
Yeah, so did I. But Jeremy has pointed out that it's Stained.
Right. They even sound the same, that those two names are very... Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, you creed your pants, or you stained your pants.
Exactly.
I don't know, that kind of works. Anyway, now I did have, what do you want to do? What do you got?
Well, actually, I just want to give a quick shout out to Jeremy, because he's working on some new artwork, which he sent me, which is of me and my pro wrestling debut as Alex Savage, looking pretty sick.
Yeah, also, he sent us a bunch of other art, which is on our walls as we speak. There's one directly behind it, or there's a couple directly behind it. There's a bunch directly behind us now. And I've got them in my room too, and I've got one on my door. It's a big picture of my face, and it says, nope. And that's in case anybody thinks about knocking on my door.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, because he's currently masturbating.
Well, maybe.
If that door's closed... you do the math.
If this room's a rockin', I'm probably
knocking one out.
Yeah.
So I've got his artwork, which references No Caller ID with the masked man, but he's got tattoos of Pigville on his stomach and fists. Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And also I've got the one of me. It's quite funny. I've got the one of me as Han Solo up there, but I've also got the woodcut that he gave me propped up over there. So just in case no one sees one of them, hopefully they see the other one and go, hey, is that you as Han Solo? And I go, yeah, that's me.
Han Solo also is in my room as well on my woodcut. I've got a big woodcut that's got multiple of you and me on it.
Yeah.
And one of them is Han Solo. So that Han is getting some thorough distribution.
Getting some love. So thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for your support, and it's always awesome. So just know that every time I walk into my room, I see that, and I'm like, respect. You're going to say something else, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I've got plenty. I did have quite
Well, actually, okay, I'm going to just cut you off now. Isn't that fucking annoying? Hey,
Yeah.
what were you talking about? No, don't go.
What were we
Don't
talking
give a
about?
fuck.
I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
All right.
Well, we were just talking about Han Solo, which segues greatly into this. Have you heard about the Han Solo movie fallout?
Yeah, so the two people that were making the movie separated due to, quote, creative differences. And then that's all I heard, and I really didn't care. And then Ron Howard came on.
That's correct.
And now Ron Howard's on, and I still don't really care.
Don't care because you don't care about the Han Solo film?
I'm just really disappointed by the last two Star Wars films, and if those two kind of set the bar for Star Wars for me, well, that's a problem. I'll still go and watch it. I'll go and check it out. But, basically, the Han Solo part of that last movie was really bad.
What was wrong with Han Solo? I don't like him getting killed.
Well, exactly. Han Solo dying as a result of getting stabbed by a lightsaber from
his petulant son.
Exactly, from his petulant, little rich boy son who, his little Max Key, is the Max Key of the Star Wars universe.
He is the Max Key of the Star Wars universe.
And it's like, I don't.
Kylo Ren is the Max Key of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
Why is no one taking me seriously?
Although it wouldn't be so bad if Max Key were to lightsaber his dad.
Yeah, well, you'd love it, wouldn't you?
Well, it's not so relevant anymore. Now he's a civilian. His dad is the former prime minister. Now it's just murder. But his dad used to be the prime minister of New Zealand, for those international listeners, John Key.
He just gave up one day.
Yeah, he just gave up.
He just literally just gave up one day.
His term wasn't finished. He was just like, well, that's enough.
I've just had enough.
I'm going to hand this off to this Catholic guy who's got 7 kids and does not believe that people should use contraception and is anti people being able to have abortions, and his wife's a doctor and will not perform abortions or prescribe birth care, whatever it is called. Yeah, birth control and stuff.
Birth care.
She'll give you birth care,
but not birth control.
Just not birth control. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So he could lightsaber his dad, but now it's not so relevant.
But now it doesn't matter.
It's just murder
much.
now. He's just a civilian. But he quit. He quit
he
6
quit.
months. He quit 6 months before.
So fucking lazy.
Yeah, 6 months before his term was meant to finish. Before the next election, he was like, "Well, yeah, I've just had enough. I'm going to fob this onto my vice president."
It just
prime minister.
smacks of rich arrogance to me. It really does, because it's just like, I can't be fucked, and I don't give enough of a fuck about the New Zealand people to continue this fuck for fucking 6 more months. 0 fucks given right here. 0 fucks given to you, 0 fucks given to the people who voted for me. Just 0 fucking fucks given. It's not like he was ousted or anything.
No.
But I also do feel like there was obviously a big scandal and cover up, whereas he was philandering. He was boozing it up and sleeping with many, many prostitutes and hangers on. And his wife found out, and she was like, "You got 2 choices, kid. You can either quit right now and look like a smacking of rich arrogance, or I'm gonna oust you and we're gonna get a divorce. And guess what? You're fucking rich. You're richer than all the people in New Zealand that you quote unquote have the backs of." And so you're gonna have to pay out a lot if that happens. Plus, people aren't gonna like to hear about all the prostitutes that you've been doing these weird, kinky, choking games with, or whatever they are. So you go quit, or this is all coming out. Well, so he just quit.
You might be right, but I just feel like if that was the case, we'd have hookers coming out of the woodwork, talking to the media and stuff, posting on social media and all that stuff.
Well, money talks, my friend.
Well, that's true.
If someone gives
you a bunch of
hookers
money
was
and
like,
says,
"Hey,
shut
yeah,
up."
exactly." And also, if it was actually someone, because I said hookers, but actually, what I don't mean hookers. I think it's more just people he was having affairs with, just randoms, and
just really feel like we would have heard something.
I feel like we may, but it'll be in time.
In time,
Unfortunately, we can't besmirch his name just yet.
Right. So anyway, Han Solo.
So anyway, it turns out they didn't leave through creative. Well, they did leave through creative differences, but they were fired.
Right.
So they weren't like, look, this is best for business, let's just both go our separate ways, they were like, you're fucking fired.
Both of them got fired.
Yeah, you're fucking fired because you're doing a shit job and we're not happy with anything that you've done. And apparently there was all sorts of issues behind the scenes. One, they loved this sort of improvisational style. We've talked about improvisation, I think. Never a good idea.
Well, it's a made-up thing. Improvising is a made-up thing when it comes to these types of, like, movies, rapping, all that stuff. You know, you write it all beforehand.
So basically, they would do a take as written, and then they would just go off script and be like, just try this, just try that. And they were shouting things out from behind the, camera. Hey, just say this line, just say that line.
Yeah.
And so basically what would happen is they'd do one take of what was written, which of course your first take is going to be shit. Just warming up, most of the time. For most actors, it's not going to be the best take. And then they'd got all this other stuff, but none of it was the script. And so, the producers were looking at this and were like, well, this isn't what we've written, and there's no good performances here. And in fact, they had to hire an acting coach for Han Solo. Let's just let that sink in for a second. Let's let this sink in. They searched hundreds, thousands of people for the right guy to play young Han Solo. And this guy would have done 10 auditions or screen tests before they said, yeah, you're the guy to play Han Solo. You embody Han Solo the most. You are absolutely the best for this role, right? He had to do all that before he got the fucking role. And then they're saying, this guy's doing a shit job playing Han Solo. We need to get an acting coach in to coach this guy to be like Han Solo because he's not doing it. Like, that is serious, that's serious concerns. They were obviously clearly very worried, but again, they think it comes back to the whole directors not giving him the opportunity and, sort of coaching him in the right way to perform the right way because they are doing their silly 21 Jump Street stuff.
So what are they doing? Are they throwing it all out? Are they throwing the whole thing out and starting again?
So basically what's going to happen, yes, I think, essentially. So the reshoots now, because, they're still scheduled to film for like another chunk, right? But now that chunk has been extended from like the beginning, for, it's going to be for another few weeks, and now it's going on until September. So essentially, what I would not be surprised is if they kind of almost reshoot the entire fucking film. But it's pretty crazy that all of this happened. And apparently, there was also disagreements about that they were complaining that they didn't have enough time to film stuff. Let that fucking sink in for a second. This is Star Wars. This is a huge, but this is a $200 million film, and they're saying, "Hey, we're not getting enough time to shoot these scenes." Just think about that for a fucking second. The biggest fucking production you could ever imagine. You've got the best people working for you, and you're like, yeah, we don't have enough time to shoot this scene today. We're going to split it over 2 days because we don't have enough time.
Well, what is it? What's the problem? That the directors are not doing it good enough?
The directors are just, I think the directors are just fucking around. And of course, when you want to improvise and go off the script all the time, well, it's going to take you a very long time to find scenes because you're basically, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And it's going to take a long while through the day for something to stick for you to go
turn that shit into a Mona Lisa.
Exactly, to turn that shit into something palatable that someone wants to look at. And so I think that they were sort of doing all this crazy shit, not really getting through all their setups, not really getting bad performances, but performances like to them. Also, these guys did 21 Jump Street. Have you seen that?
No, come on.
Have you seen?
I saw the original series.
Did you see
starring Johnny Depp?
Did you see the Lego Movie?
No. I've seen like little bits and pieces of Lego movies.
Well, these films aren't bad films, but like comedically speaking, they're so like, if you think about Han Solo, yeah, he's a funny guy, makes a few wisecracks, he's sarcastic, right? These films that they did prior to this one, they were all super successful, but they're fucking zany, wacky jokes, man. They're nothing like a Star Wars. Like, tonally, the jokes and the humor are so different that you have to wonder how they ever thought this was ever going to work. If you see fucking Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill, like, fucking talking shit in 21 Jump Street, and they go, yeah, that's going to be Han and Chewie. Never happened. So it's kind of weird that they they chose this, and obviously it made a huge mistake. But allegedly, the same thing happened on Rogue One or Rogue whatever the hell it is, Rogue Leader. So the same thing happened in the sense that but the director was much more sort of amicable to it. So basically, they weren't happy with what I think Gareth Edwards had done, and so they were like, "We're not happy with any of this." They went and did heaps more reshoots than they meant to, reshot almost a huge chunk of the film. And this new guy, Tony Gilroy, both rewrote and reshot. Tony Gilroy is the director of the Bourne Ultimatum or something, and he wrote most of the Bourne movies. But he was the guy that kind of finished and ultimately, you might say, had authorship of that film. But it never really, that's kind of speculative. They never, fully established that, and Gareth Edwards was always very cooperative and never kind of talked shit. So it didn't kind of end, and he was never officially fired. But apparently he wasn't really doing that much by the end of it. It was Tony Gilroy. But it just goes to show, man, they run a tight ship on Star Wars.
Well, they need to, because it's the fate of millions of fans are entwined with it.
Yeah, it's as if millions of fans all cried out and were silenced at once. Or whatever that fucking quote is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. But I just think it's interesting because this shit doesn't really happen that regularly. No one gets fired, and not 2/3 of the way through filming. And real serious shit has to be going down.
It's Rogue One, isn't it? Rogue One, the name of the other movie.
Maybe
you said Rogue Leader.
Yeah, it's Rogue One.
Yeah. 'Cause I was going to say, I was like, that doesn't
Rogue
sound
Leader
right to
is
me.
the tattoo I have on my arm.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, guy's got Rogue Leader tattooed on his arm next to his large Rebel Alliance symbol with an X-wing flying underneath it, and inexplicably some flames.
Sadly, there's no X-wing, just flames.
Oh, I thought there was
There's flames in a galaxy.
Okay.
But there's no X-wing.
Right. Well,
couldn't squeeze an X-wing in there.
So when you said Rogue Leader just then, I thought, oh, wait a minute. So it used to be that guy got this tattoo for Rogue Leader, a reasonably obscure reference to Star Wars.
Totally obscure.
In the sense that it's it's just the leader of one of the squadrons of Star Wars of X-wings. But then I realized that when the film comes out, and it has come out, and it's called Rogue Leader, that now then looks like you just really love that film.
Fuck, man, I'm so glad it's not called Rogue Leader because I really don't like that film. So I'd be such a fucking dipshit. Whereas now I could maintain my Star Wars tattoo with pride.
Yeah. Well, so we also mentioned last week that I had my photo from Humans of K Road was going to be on display at an art exhibition.
Yep.
I think you'll like this story, Guy. Okay. Because it was not all I had hoped it would be.
Well, I think I probably will then.
So the setup was that a photo I took a couple of years ago when I was walking down K Road, the photographer approached me. He says, "You got a quote? We'll take a photo."
You're like, I don't know. I've got some shit brown shoes on, but fucking go for it. Which match my shit brown hat, but fucking go for it, mate.
So now look, I'll tell you about those shit brown shoes, okay? Now look, if you guys want to see what we're talking about, go facebook.com/Guy and Harley. I shared it just the other day. Scroll down, you'll see it. It's a Humans of K Road picture. It's like Humans of New York, the famous blog, where they take a picture of a person and then have a look at their face, and then they have a look at their quote, and you can see it.
It's a direct rip-off.
Yeah, it's a direct
plagiarization.
franchising of the idea.
Plagiarization.
Unauthorized franchising.
Unauthorized franchising. That's good, man. We've got to use that. That's gold.
We do.
You gotta write that down. Unauthorized franchising. Fucking brilliant.
So this picture got taken, and it was a resounding success, and it did really well online, and it was one of the most successful posts on Humans of K Road, and then it also got displayed in this theatre, the Q Theatre here in Auckland on Queen Street, which is the main street, and it's a sort of a big cafe outside next to a theatre where a whole bunch of like trendy and influential actory sort of people obviously attend regularly, and it was there for months and months, maybe even a year, I don't know, and it was really it was beautifully displayed with like special lights and a little indentation in the wall for it, and it was just this big picture of me and my quote, and it was on a little plaque, and it was awesome. So that's essentially what I was picturing for this exhibition, which is this weekend. So they had this this thing, the Creative Mirror, and so they had the launch party, and I was like, well, obviously I'm going to attend. So, and that was my second time leaving the house since my surgery, and I went along, and my plan was to stand around next to this thing, schmoozing people, talking to them about the quote, and
pontificating on the quote,
and hitting on them maybe, potentially. Who knows? I just stand
not?
around, see what happens.
Single,
exactly.
ready to mingle.
So I arrived, and now he's a real nice guy, but he was like, here's your quote, mate. And he took me to the quote. Now I'm going to post this on the Guy and Harley Facebook page so you can see it. Okay, so there's this beautiful art gallery and the big open space, right? Yeah. He took me out of the big open space into a little hallway that was leading to the toilet. It was behind the kitchen on the way to the toilet. Behind the kitchen on the way to the toilet. Now, they've got this big giant zebra that's jumping through the wall. So what it is, obviously it's a zebra that's been chopped in half. One half's on one side of the wall, the other half's on the other side of the wall. Now, the front half is on the good side of the room. It's, it's looking at the room.
You're next to the zebra's ass.
and on the back of it is a zebra's ass just hanging out of the wall. A big hanging off the wall ass. And does the zebra have a cock? Yes, it does. I checked.
Yep.
So I'm hanging next to a big cock and ass, and then so there's the picture. But the thing is that he said he had a problem with the printing. So it wasn't this big thing with a beautiful display, and it wasn't a big picture. It was like a little, just a regular sized photo that you would put in a photo album. Like just literally
that small,
or maybe very slightly bigger, but basically, like just a tiny album, like a tiny photo, not really that much bigger than your phone kind of thing. Yeah. And the quote had been printed out, but it had just been printed out on printer paper, and just sort of slapped up next to it. Printer paper. And not even like trimmed, so all the white paper hadn't been trimmed off it or anything like that. It was just, so it was quite a small quote in the middle of a piece of paper.
Bloody joke.
Well, that's what I first thought.
You go,
that's what I thought.
Am I being punked?
A little bit. I thought that too. So the first two things I thought when I saw it was firstly I was like, haha, he's made a joke, because everything else was displayed quite well. It had like frames and all that stuff.
The other humans you're talking about?
No. There was no other Humans of K Road stuff. There was just other art.
Yeah.
And so I was like, whereas this didn't have any sort of framing or anything like that. It was just kind of just
didn't
there.
Even have a frame.
No, it didn't have a frame. He asked me if I wanted to pay for it to have a frame, not then, but prior. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, it'll be fine. I don't care that much.
It'll be fine as long as you don't print it out on printing paper the size of a normal photo and put it up next to a zebra's asshole.
More or less. And,
I think it'll be fine, mate.
And so. It was my initial thought was he's joking. That's clearly
and
just
he's going to lead me to the real one.
He's going to lead me to the real one, because that looks like it's been sellotaped on the wall.
And then you guys just stood there.
And he was like, "So here it is," and I was like, okay, And then my next thought was I went to a dark place. My thought was, hang on, is this an elaborate punking?
Yeah.
Have I been?
I'm gonna show.
Is this an attack on me of some description? Like, hey, I've got an idea. Let's put this horse's ass's quote next to a horse's ass. Sort of thing. Like I was like next to a horse's ass behind the kitchen by the toilet. I was like, is this like an overt, fuck you to me kind of thing? I was like, that's weird, but I'd like to clarify that it was not, and it definitely was not.
There were no hidden cameras. No one jumped out. You guys just stood there.
Now the thing is that I had my operation, right? So I was not like making a big thing about it. I shared it a bunch of times online. I did want a bunch of people to come because I was picturing it like the one at Q Theatre, this big thing that makes me look like the man, right? And so I'd even invited Dominic Hoey on the Facebook event.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Now look,
imagine if your idol had shown
up. Now that's the thing. Somebody actually said to me, because it kind of did look like, it almost looked like I sent it to Jeremy. I sent a photo of it to Jeremy Housen, and he said it looked like I had snuck in and just put it on the wall myself, guerrilla styles. You know, and that's almost what it would look like. And Dominic Hoey shows up, and he's like, all right, Harley, where's this fucking artwork that that you're so proud of?
You're so proud of that you've been pestering me online
to come and check it out, you know, and then it's like it's like, oh, come with me to the toilet. Watch out for those balls that are dangling next out of that zebra.
Be wary of those balls.
and here it is. I mean, I just had the operation, so I didn't show up with a click. I actually went by myself, like literally by myself. But had I not had the operation, I would have rallied up a few people to go down with, because, you know, there's beers there and all that, so it's a good excuse to go out. It was a Saturday on a nice day. Why wouldn't I? You know, I would have rallied up a gang. But if I had done that, I would have been legit embarrassed.
You would have been a little humiliated.
I mean, I was embarrassed anyway.
And no one was there.
And I still, like, a few people that I know showed up through the Facebook shares, and I had to take them over to it and be like, yes, so this is not quite what I was expecting.
Were there other ones along next to you?
No, I was by myself.
Literally, you were just by the zebra's ass.
So the main, so nobody really even necessarily knew if it was part of the exhibition. And the thing is as well that later on in the event, somebody they had all these bottles that they needed to get rid of from people drinking beers. So somebody put a big bin of bottles underneath it, and then other people started dumping their coats and bags and shit underneath it, and then it was oh, here's a nice out of the way spot. Where's a nice out of the way spot to leave some shit? Oh, here, under this horse's ass, under this zebra's ass. And so
amazing story.
so yeah, other people as well clearly didn't think it was part of the exhibition.
What happened to all the other photos?
Well, no. See, it wasn't a Humans of K Road exhibition, though. It was a general kind of creative stuff. And the reason why he used it is because he likes it, and he's proud of it, and he thinks it's a cool thing, and he wanted to use it. See, now, there was another place it could have gone, because there was this one other Humans of K Road thing in the entire display. And I'm on that too, luckily. But it definitely could have fit there. There was actually room where it could have fit there. But look, I do make this clear that I do not think it was an attack on me. I do not think it was any sort of joke. And I do think basically what happened was that he was organising a lot. This was the big launch party. There was 30 different artists involved in this thing, plus his own work. And he was orchestrating everything and printing things and doing things and all that stuff. And then he had trouble with the printing of my one, so he couldn't print it out as big as he wanted. And then I think basically what happened was, and I think it wasn't even him that chose the basically it was like, we've got to get all the shit up on the walls, you know, and someone got delegated that, and instead of going it to the Humans of K Road bit, someone shoved it by the fucking toilet. You know, it was so much so I didn't even post about it online. Like, I didn't even take a photo with it and post it online, because I was like, this is embarrassing.
Have you got a photo, but you're going to put a photo online?
I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it for the Hardy Hundy.
You and the zebra's ass in the photo.
I don't know if I've got one with me as well, but I might do. I definitely took one of the zebra's ass, and the photo and the quote. No, I think I do have one, actually.
The zebra's ass and balls slightly out of focus, while, foreground, background, slightly out of focus, but the focus on your...
on my disappointed
your
face.
Color, your print, your computer paper print. I think obviously what happened. See, this is my take on all of that. Right, is he got the printout of it, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And they're like, "Well, you said it printout." He was like, "Yeah, but I meant like a proper size, proper paper, proper everything." And they're like, "Well, you didn't give us any money for that." And he goes, "Yeah, all right.
You win this round."
Yeah, okay. Well, we can't put this up. Oh, the guy's coming. Oh, okay. Put it by the zebra's asshole. just put it there, and I'll show it to him. He won't get. He's art. It's next to more art. He won't get it. He's dumb. The guy had shit-colored shoes, for heaven's sake. You think he fucking knows anything? He'll just interpret it as part of the artwork. He won't realize that it's not part of the actual exhibition, and we can quickly take it down when he leaves.
Maybe.
Good stuff. Bloody good stuff, though. Good story.
Yeah.
Thought it was great.
I knew you'd like that one.
I'm almost in tears. It's so funny.
As it happened, as it was unraveling on the day, I was like, yeah, guy's going to like this.
Guy's going to love this one.
Yeah. Although I was like, I'm too embarrassed to tell this story on the podcast.
Yeah.
But with time, I got acquainted with it.
At the end of the day, you're going to have more setbacks then you are going to have set forwards. So you just got to kind of embrace them and laugh. And look, if we didn't at this point kind of make fun of ourselves a lot, we'd really be in a much darker place than we currently are. And I'm not saying we're in a good place. I'm not saying we're in a good place at all. So just consider if we couldn't laugh at ourselves right now, we'd really be walking around pretty mad at the world. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to have a laugh with our listeners and just appreciate when things just don't quite go right. It's probably a good point to wrap it up. We're not going to top that story.
No, well, I think you're right. That is a good point to wrap it up. So I'll end with two little things. One, I am doing Dry July in 3 days, as I do every year, where you stop drinking for the month of July to raise money to help make life easier for people living with cancer. So they do things like refurbish, wards that people have to hang out and, when they're getting treatment and that type of thing. So they're not attempting to cure cancer. They're attempting to make life better for people with cancer. And they do offer, I think that's like home services and these types of things to make life easier for people. So if that sounds like something you'd like to support, and if you'd like to support me not drinking for a month, you can absolutely do that.
How much did you raise last time?
I can't remember. It's never been too much. I always just set it for the minimum goal, which is $250, and I've never reached the minimum goal.
I was about to say, I thought you were going to say, it always hit about that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's it's always more than $100. I don't really push it too hard, to be honest. I'm mostly doing it for myself.
You're doing it to dry out.
I'm doing it to dry out.
Literally doing it because you're a recovering alcoholic and you need to sober up. That is the primary reason for doing it.
Yeah. So that's my primary motivation is for my own personal health.
To get clean.
But if you would like to donate to that, the money all goes to a good cause, and it does encourage me, and it does make me feel like, yeah, fuck yeah, Harley, you're doing some good shit. Keep it up, bro. So if you want to help me out, you can. I will share it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GuyAndHarley, and you can go there. Otherwise, just Google Dry July Harley Neville, and you'll find it. The website, I think, is dryjuly.co.nz, but just go Dry July Harley Neville, and I've got a profile up there, and you can be my first donation. I don't have any donations yet. Not a single one. Not $1. So I think it might have a thing where it makes it look like your minimum deposit is like $5 or $20, but you can actually just click on it and edit that to like $1.
Just edit it down.
Yeah, just edit it down to $1. So yes, Dry July, I'm doing that. So expect 3 or 4 shit podcasts coming up. Guy will be anchoring on those ones.
I'll be taking the reins.
and the other thing I also just wanted to say was a big, massive thank you to / shout out to
which is known as a thank out.
A thank out. Big thank out.
We've coined a new term.
Yeah. To the Patreon supporters, because you guys are fucking awesome, and that really does make a huge difference. And I was thinking we need to think up a name for the Patreon supporters. So we're open to ideas. So we've got the Filthy 50, the Hardy Hundy. I don't know. The Pigville Patreon supporters. We need to think of something for them. But anyway, I just wanted to say that we got an anonymous contributor. So our biggest contributor is someone anonymous. They're just known as Jack, and I don't know Jack. And it's 20.
See what you did there. If you're just wondering, that is we were just about to wrap it up. Harley hadn't cracked one single dad joke, not a single one of the whole podcast, and then boom, just dropped that one right at the end.
Just snuck a shit one in the end. Well, I do have another one. I was going to point out that if I do go pro with this Pigville stuff, if I go pro with this creative stuff, that I'm going to have to be budgeting and spending a lot less money and stuff like that, which is going to be a real problem. There'll be no more Uber eating, although there will be a lot of Uber under eating, perhaps. And that's it. That was my dad joke.
I don't get it.
Well, I'm just not eating very much because I don't have any fucking money. So I won't be getting any more Uber Eats. Uber under eats.
Okay.
You see what I'm going? See what I'm going with that?
So.
No good. It doesn't work when you say I'm going to say a dad joke. Obviously, you just got to slip a dad joke in. Yeah. Anyway, but I skipped it. I missed it before, and then I was like, well, it's now or I'm going to delete it. So anyway, look, we got an anonymous supporter, and his name's Jack, and he has given us $20 per month.
Whoa.
Now that is our biggest Patreon
That's
supporter.
awesome.
That's a big one.
Does that mean I can stop making the...
No, it doesn't, because this is old. This is actually old news.
Oh, okay.
So we're still at $69.
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
20 of those dollars is from
That's
an
big,
anonymous listener, Jack.
Jack,
So Jack,
my friend, thank you.
thank you, and thank you to all the rest of our supporters as well, because you guys are freaking awesome. And if I go pro, I'm going to be adding a lot more perks and stuff like that to that Patreon thing. I'm going to be anyway. I need to, but I'm going to try and work on that.
Also, big shout out to Naomi Kebby, who is a dear friend from London, one of the Filthy 50, Hardy Hundy, one of the supporters of my filmmaking career since I met her at the tender age of 19 over in London, and my best friend over there. Lovely, lovely lady. She has just had a baby.
Congratulations, Naomi.
So, and I know she's been wanting to have a baby for a while, so I think that's awesome. She's going to make a great mum, and I think that's wonderful news.
Cool. So on Dry July, Patreon and babies, we are going to wrap it up, and we will see you all next week.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.